What's up, guys? I'm trying to. I got a pillar pod for my phone, so I'm trying to get it adjusted, if that makes sense. And I don't like these lights. Does that look a little bit better? That's too much light for me. But, anyways, I want to talk on some topics from my last video that you guys seen. My last video that you guys seen was about with that court stuff going on with Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, how she used to abuse him mentally and physically. Well, I want to get on that topic. That topic that I want to discuss is has anybody ever been in a relationship that was a lot of domestic violence or let me see, domestic violence or mentally, physically, and emotionally. There are two types. As of I know right now, I got to do some more research, but the way my counselor has talked to me about domestic violence is there's two types. There's domestic, where you put your hands on someone and you beat them up. And the other type is mentally. Mentally is somewhere where someone will sit there and call you names and make you feel like you're not good enough. Make you feel like you're not worth anything. You will never accomplish anything in your life. And you will never amount to anything. Well, the relationship I used to be in was physically and mentally. And with the relationship that I used to be in when I used to be married was it really took a toll on me. And I've been divorced for, let's see, my divorce was finalized at the beginning of 2011, and this is 2022. So let's see, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 11 years. I've been divorced 11 years. And it is still, to this day, I still have a hard time coping. I still have stuff that will come up and I will think about that relationship. There's sometimes where I feel I'm not working hard enough or I am not good enough for the female I'm with today, with my fiance who I'm with currently. There was a lot of abusive and mentally abuse in the relationship I was in, and a lot of men out there, and there's quite a few men out there who goes through those things but won't come out and say anything because of the image that men carry. Just like women, there's a lot of women out there who will get mentally and physically abused and will not say nothing because they're afraid they're going to get hit or something's going to happen to them. That's what they're afraid of. So with that, when people ask me, like for an example, if a female has been through a real bad relationship, I can sit there and be like, I can relate to you, I know. And they sit there and look at me like I'm a dumb, because they look at it as, you're a man, you never go through what we went through. Bullshit. I have been through a very bad relationship. bad enough where I remember one time where an ashtray got thrown at me. I ended up in the hospital and got 4 staples put in my head from getting hit with something, and she cracked my skull open. There's been times where she pulled a knife out on me. There's been times where I went to family get-togethers and had 2 black eyes and a split lip. I remember one night I threw her a birthday party, and her cousin and her friends were there, and she got pissed off because I threw her a birthday party there at the house because I thought it was a nice thing to do. And she punched me in the mouth and split my lip right in front of her cousin and one of her friends. They didn't know what to do. Her friend looked at me and told me I needed to leave, but I didn't listen to her because I loved the girl so much. When you love someone so much, you think you can fix the relationship, and you cannot fix the relationship at all. I dealt with it for 10 years, the up and down. That was the physical part. The mental part was she will, for an example, she will call a friend up and say, well, before she calls the friend up, she will ask me, hey, do you care if I go out tonight? No, go out, have fun. Okay. So she will call a friend up, tell her friend on the phone, he don't want me to leave. He don't want me to go anywhere. And in the background, I'd be saying, no, go have fun. Go do your thing, go have fun with your friends. You worked, go. I got the kids, And she will literally sit there and make it sound like I would not let her leave the house. And that was not true. Like, in the background, I would sit there, no, go. And she's on the phone. See, hear that? He's yelling at me. When I'm really not yelling, I'm just telling her to go, have fun. And she will reverse it and make those people on the other end sound like I'm yelling and tell her to get out. I didn't want her there or whatever. I would work. I would work a full-time job and bring in a decent chunk on a check, $500-600 a week. And that wasn't good enough. That wasn't enough money. So I worked a full-time job and I mowed grass when I got off work. I had a little lawn care service. I had probably about 6 people, 6 customers. And with that job, I was bringing in anywhere from $100 to $200. So I would put that money off to the side. And then my paychecks would go and help for pay the bills and stuff. The only reason why I did lawn care and put that $200 off to the side is so when she comes to me and says, hey, I want to go out tonight, give me some money. She worked, remind you, she worked, but she would not use her money. I would have to give her my money that I earned. So I started buying cars and fixing them up and reselling them. I had to give her that money. What else? There was one time that I literally was giving my money to her, and she would tell her friends and her family that I was stealing money from her when I was not stealing money from her. I was literally giving her my paychecks, all the money I would have in my pocket, I would give to her. Just because I didn't want to get hit. Have you ever, when you was a kid, or when you know something's going to happen at home with your significant other, you ever get off work, or when you was a kid, you get off the school bus and you go home, and right before you turn the corner, when you get closer to your home, your stomach starts doing this weird, like I'm getting sick, I'm not feeling good, I'm panicking, that kind of stuff. That's how I felt every time I got off work. As soon as I got off work, as soon as I got close enough, a block away from my house, I was scared to death. I didn't know if she was going to be home. I didn't know if I was going to get hit that day. Normally I get home before she did, so I always made sure dinner was on the table, the kids had their bath, getting ready to eat, they was ready for bed. That way when she got home and walked through the door, all what she had to do is take her shoes off, sit down, eat her dinner, get up, go take a shower, and go to bed. I took care of the rest. I cleaned up the kitchen after dinner. I got the kids ready to go off to bed, and that still wasn't good enough. I still was not good enough for her. And till this day, I still, like, in a relationship, I still feel like I'm not producing enough. I feel like I'm not giving my 100%, even though I am. It feels like I'm not giving that 100% to my family. I feel like I'm not giving that 100% to my fiance, who I'm currently with today. And I feel like I'm not good enough for her. And she tells me every day, babe, you're awesome. You do so much. You cook, you clean, you go to work and work for 8 hours and and come home and get up at, go to bed, and then you're up at 12:30, 1 o'clock. You're out in the garage. You're trying to do things around the house to make extra cash for us. You're doing way more than anybody else would, and I spend a lot of time away from the family because either I'm working, or I'm in the garage working, or I'm working on a vehicle, or I'm always doing something because I'm afraid if I slow down and spend more time with the family, I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm 40 years old, and I shouldn't feel like that. And the woman I'm with today, I can feel her love. I can feel the attention. I can feel she's all about me, not, oh, go do this for me, go do that, or you're not good enough, you didn't bring enough cash home this week, or you're short on a bill, so I'm going to leave you. It's always something. But with the female I'm with today, she's not like that. She's loving. We are a team. We 50-50. That's how it is, and that's how it should be in a relationship. And when it comes to domestic violence, yeah, a lot of it does do with the men beating on the women, and I cannot stand that. I watched it growing up. I watched my mom get beat on. The guy she used to be married to, like, I remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing my mom covered in blood because he beat her up, and it looked bad. He beat on me when I was a kid, like from the age of 4 all the way up. I think I finally stood up to him when I was 17, and he would beat on me. So when you get beaten when you're a kid, you're always going to find a relationship that has that in it. Sometimes when you're beaten as a kid, I notice in a lot of people, a lot of guys, if you was beaten as a kid, you will grow up and beat on your woman or your kids. Me, I'm not like that. I'm like the totally opposite. I was beaten on when I was a kid, and I would never lay a hand on my kids. You can ask my kids. I never spanked them, not once. I never laid a hand on them. I always grounded them or took something away from them. Every woman I've dated, never laid a hand on them. I swear that on everything I own. I never once laid a hand. The only time I would ever touch a female is if I feel like I'm being threatened, or if they're up in my face, and I will try to get away. I will walk away. I will leave. I never physically hit a woman, and I will never ever hit a woman or lay my hands on a woman, because I watched it when I watched what my mom went through growing up. I watch every day. It seemed like every day I watched her get hit. There's not The only good memories I have growing up is the ones when I was with my grandparents down in their town with my aunt and uncle. I don't know if you guys ever watch my other channel about my S10, but I talk about my uncle a lot because I feel like they're the ones that raised me throughout the summertime. He's not around no more, rest in peace. But there's a lot of people out there, a lot of men out there. I don't think a lot of people realize there's a lot of men out there that goes through the same domestic stuff that women go through, and we are afraid to stand up. The reason why I did not say anything in my relationship is because I was afraid that I was going to get beat. I was afraid of the consequences I would get. If I went down to my mom's house, she would sit there and be like, "Ooh, you got a black eye. How did you get that? Did she do it?" Everybody knew she did it, but I always kept it hush hush. And yeah, it's crazy. It's very, very hard. And now I look at the generation that's growing up today. They just sit on a computer. They don't do nothing. They either play video games, computers, or they're getting in trouble. I rather my kids, I don't really care for all my kids playing on the computer 24/7, but hey, as long as it keeps them out of trouble and keeps them off the drugs, that's fine. And it's very hard, and people wonder why certain people have an addiction to alcohol, addiction to a drug. But I will get into that on a later date, on another episode. Let's put it that way. I will talk about the reason why I got addicted to alcohol and drugs, and it does pertain to the violence, the beatings from when you're a child to when you're an adult. When you get into that relationship where a man or a woman beats on you, what do? You turn to a drug because you want to numb the pain. You want to, you turn to the alcohol because it numbs the pain. It makes you forget of the things you're going through, and sometimes it eases up the pain. When you see a fist getting ready to fly at you from your significant other, sometimes it will it don't hurt as bad. It might look bad when you wake up the next day. You might have a little headache, but it don't hurt as bad right then and there when you're on drugs, when you're drinking, So I kind of self-medicated myself there for the longest time. For a very long time, I self-medicated. As soon as I got out of my divorce, I really got into drugs very heavily, and got into the alcohol real bad. But like I said, I will talk about that story on the next video. But I just want you guys to all remember that domestic violence and physically and mental abuse is very important, and it needs to stop. So if you love that person that much, like you say you do, don't lay a hand on them, man. Don't lay a hand on them. Don't beat on them. If they're doing something wrong, sit down and talk about it. Or if you think you're going to hit that woman, or if you think you're going to hit that man, get out of the relationship, because when they do it the first time, they're always going to do it. And that's how it's always been. My my grandma told me, once a man hits a woman, it will never stop. Just like a woman. Once a woman hits a man, it will never stop. Especially the men that are very, very strict on themselves on not touching a woman. I look at it as a woman woman gave birth to me. When you get with a woman, you treat her like a queen. Just like a woman should treat their men like a king. Yeah, you're going to have your up and downs. Yeah, you're going to have your arguments and your fights and your screaming and stuff like that. Someone's going to do something. It's not on the same page. You guys are not going to see eye to eye. And that's how all relationships are. All relationships will have your ups and downs. Some of them can be worse. Some of them can be, you can work it out. But when you guys do that, just remember, don't lay a hand, because if your kids see that and watch their mother get beat on or watch their father get beat on, what's going to happen? Those kids are going to grow up and do the exact same thing because they think it's love. And that's one thing I was taught in a bad way, was when I was getting beat on when I was a child by my stepfather, all what he kept on saying is, if you tell your mom, you will get it 100 times worse, or you will get it worse and she will get it 100 times worser. Okay? And the other thing he would tell me is, I'm doing this because I love you. I'm beating on you because I love you. So being 5 years old till your adulthood, where you get into relationships and you get into a relationship that you love that girl or that man so much, but you didn't know that side of them, and when they do show you that side, you just think it's love, because that's what you was taught when growing up. And it needs to stop. I had a real bad luck with females. When I got a divorce, I didn't date for 2 years. I did not date a girl. I was scared of a girl. I was scared of female. You can ask anybody that knows me. They will sit there and tell you, as soon as he went through his divorce, he was so afraid of females, it was not funny. And I'm still, to this day, I'm still afraid of a female. And I'm standing here letting you guys know this because I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because of what I went through. And a lot of men out there will not say that. A lot of men out there will keep it hush hush and not tell anybody until either they're dead or until something really bad happens, where someone will step in and say, hey man, you need to get out of a relationship. My mom, my family told me, hey, get out. Next time she hits you, call the cops. And that will be another video too, because when I brought it to the end of that relationship, I was with her for 11 years, and I was married to her. I was with her for 10 years, and I was married to her for 1 year and 1 month. And 1 year and 1 month I was married to her. So altogether I was with her for 11 years. And I had enough. She flipped out on me one night, and I called the cops. So just remember, if you don't put a stop to it the first time, it's always going to happen, and you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. And then when it comes to the end, it's going to be too late. Either you're going to be dead or you're going to be in the hospital. And sometimes you got to have that person, when they sit there and tell you you need to get out of that relationship, get out of the relationship. They see something that you don't see because you're blind by the love. You're blind because you love that person so much. And this is just not going for the men. This is going for the women also. This is going for both sides. Because I watched it from both sides. I experienced it from a child to my adult age, being in a real physical relationship that she would beat the crap out of me. And then she got into my head and mentally, physically, pretty much drained me, just like a man doing to a woman. And there are women out there who will do that to you, but you don't hear it very often. So when I was watching this Johnny Depp court case stuff, I started thinking he kept on saying he wanted his voice to be heard, right? That's all what he wanted. He wanted someone to hear him saying, he didn't know what to do. He'd been through it when he was a kid, but he didn't know what to do. He was physically and emotionally and mentally drained. And when you get like that, you do start acting out because you don't know which way you're going. You don't know if you're going up, down, left, right. You don't know. So, and I'm glad he won the case. Like, I really do, because there are women out there that will get away with stuff. Just like I said, when I called the cops on her,